So now we'll do exercise number 6. In this, what we are doing is we'll be creating a deployment for Nginx. Okay, so the complete proper deployment for Nginx deployment. So we are copying the same file here. So first one is deployment.yml. Then we have cluster IP service. Using this file, we'll create cluster IP. The same thing was explained on the slides. The same files we are using. So this is the configuration for cluster IP, and this is the configuration for node port service. Okay, so what we have, Nginx deployment. Here we are creating two replicas, and the container is Nginx image latest. Okay, the label we have defined as Nginx. Now for the same deployment, we'll create two services. Nginx cluster IP service. Here we are defining type as cluster IP, and the selector is very important. Okay, here we define the label app is equal to label, and that same label is selected here, app Nginx, and for this Nginx container will expose port 80 as a cluster IP, and similarly for node port we have this. Okay, type as node port. Now just do kubectl apply -f Nginx deployment, then Nginx cluster IP and Nginx node port. Kubectl get all. So if you see, we created the deployment. Okay, and both the pods are running. Okay, but as per exercise we had to do that in a particular namespace, but it's okay, we have created in this in the default namespace. If you don't give -n, it will create in a default namespace. Now run the same commands. Kubectl apply -f deployment for dev in development namespace. We created Nginx. Similarly, we'll create it in a prod. Okay, then for service also, for cluster IP service in dev we are creating, and in prod similarly we'll create node port in development and prod. -n dev and -n prod. So we have Nginx deployment and service in all the three namespaces, that is default, dev and prod. So if you do kubectl get all, we can see this is for development, default, this is for dev, that is development, and this is for prod. Okay, so what we'll do is we have to just access it. So kubectl get svc will get only service for dev, prod, and also for default namespace. Just do curl. First we'll do it for cluster IP, will work. Okay, again for cluster IP, for development it will work, and again for the cluster IP for Nginx in prod namespace curl, it will work. Now I'm in kubectl -n dev get all. Okay, and my IP address is IPA grep inet. Okay, so my IP address is 1.11. Okay, so now tell me, I want to access this node port. Okay, so how I will access it? Can anyone tell me how to access this node port? what is the command I'll use now? Curl. With curl, what I'll use?
Curl
Code,
again.
No, I didn't
you
hear it.
you do the describe describe first,
Okay,
then you
describe
get,
for this one, for
yeah,
notepad. Okay,
yeah, then you
kubectl describe. Yeah, let me open it. Describe, and it was, I think, for Dave. Okay,
then
yeah. Then,
you got the endpoint IP, right?
mm-hmm.
Then call endpoint IP.
But I don't want to access it on the endpoint IP. I want to access it on the node port. That will be the endpoint IP. I want it on the node port. So see here, the output is given. This is the cluster IP. I access this clustered IP because this is a cluster IP I have defined. Now I want to access the node port. How to access the node port?
Node port. Uh,
Uh,
Yeah, tell me. Anyone can tell.
Using VMIP that
Yes, correct.
192.168 and the 3000 range
Yeah,
port IP,
yeah,
right?
that
No?
is the correct answer. 192.168.1.11 colon, and the node port is this one.
31310.
Yeah, 31310. This is for Dave. And if you see for prod, it will be something else, some other port number. 30786. Okay, and kubectl get all. If I do for development, I'll access it on 30341. Okay, and remember, this is also accessible from the outside world because only the node port is available outside. The cluster IP will be available from the cluster nodes as we are on the same VM. Okay, so that is all about this exercise. Okay, for creating the deployment and services